welcome to our daily news program coming to you live here on Canal Algérie. Coming up next. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, receives the Imam of the Malian Kontia Brotherhood, Mahmoud Diko. The head of state congratulates his Egyptian counterpart, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, after his re-election for another term. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, extends condolences to the Emir of Kuwait, Sheikh Mish'al Al-Ahmad Al-Sabah, following the death of the prominent poet and writer Abdulaziz Saoud Al-Batain. And Army General Session Greha, the PNA Chief of Staff, receives Major General Fan Jianjun, Director of the Technical Cooperation and Equipment Development Department and the Central Military Commission of China. Good evening and welcome back. Today's beginning is with the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, who received today the Imam of the Kontia Brotherhood of the Republic of Mali, Mahmoud Diko. The audience took place in the presence of the Principal Private Secretary of the Presidency, Bouelem Bouelem, the General Director of the Documentation and External Security, Major General Jabbar Mhenna, as well as the President's Advisor in charge of Religious Affairs, Zawiyas and Quranic Schools, Mohammed Hazouni. On the occasion, Mahmoud Diko had this to say.
أن أكون في هذا البلد الذي أعتبره بلد الثاني.
I am proud to be here in a country that I consider my second, the land of martyrs and free men and women. I am proud as well to have discussed with the President of the Algerian Republic. My thanks go to the Algerian people and the government and the President for this warm welcome. The Algerian generosity is legendary. The Malian people do not consider Algeria as a neighboring country, but as part and parcel. As it sided with us in all stages of crisis we witnessed. I pray God to help us overcome the problems that we are facing, as well as the Sahara region. I wish peace for all the region and the world, in addition to Gaza, during these dire circumstances.
In a different context, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, congratulated his Egyptian counterpart, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, on the occasion of his re-election at the head of the Arab Republic of Egypt in a message that stated the following: Your Excellency and dear brother, on the occasion of your re-election as President of the Arab Republic of Egypt and the renewal of trust of the Egyptian people in you, I would like to extend to you my warmest congratulations. Your re-election for a new term will allow you to continue your path in quest of further achieving progress and prosperity in your country, notably in this situation marked by regional and international challenges. I would also like to express my sincere wishes for success while affirming that our permanent issue is to consolidate cooperation and partnership in the different sectors, as well as the regional and international issues of common interests for the two countries and for the Arab Muslim nation. I would like you to accept my dear brother, my esteem, concluded the President of the Republic. In a similar context, the President of the Republic sent on Tuesday a message of condolences to the Emir of the State of Kuwait, Sheikh Mish'al Al-Ahmad Al-Jabir Al-Sabah, following the death of the Kuwaiti prominent poet and writer Abdulaziz Saoud Al-Batain. The message states the following: It is with deep sorrow that I have learned the death of the Kuwaiti poet and writer, a symbol of Kuwaiti and cultural movement, Abdulaziz Saoud Al-Batain. After a long, rich career in contributions at the Arab level, a career full of achievements, leaving behind him an immense civilizational, cultural, and humanitarian legacy. The legacy of the late, who is known as a lover of Algeria, its people, history and culture, will remain forever engraved in Algeria's memory. In this painful ordeal, I would like to extend to you, Your Highness, and to the honorable family of Al-Batain, my most sincere condolences and compassion, praying Allah Almighty to welcome him in his vast paradise. To Allah we belong, and to him we shall return. Please accept, Your Highness and dear brother, my high esteem and profound respect, concluded the President of the Republic. In the series devoted to the commitments of the President of the Republic, the constant dialogue that the head of state has established with the various components of society, whether inside or outside the country, the President never hesitated to address the people with or without occasion, ask about their concerns and grievances. One of the traditions he introduced by the end of this year, an address to the two parliament chambers. More on this unprecedented experience with Laetitia Sadqawi.
The presidential term of Abdelmajid Tebboune is undoubtedly exceptional and completely different from those of the former presidents of the country.
He is here to work. He is the people's president, known for his spontaneity. He did a lot for us. He is close to citizens and feels their struggle. He concretized many beneficial projects for them, even though he came in difficult circumstances, such as COVID-19 pandemic. The entire world was affected by a strong economic crisis. I would like to say to the president, may God preserve you. You brought back trust in the country. Hand in hand with you, we will build our country. We are with you.
In short, President Tebboune imposed his own method in managing the country's affairs. A staple of his method is the way of communication the head of state adopted in reaching out to Algerians. Relying on his usual spontaneity. With this method, he earned the admiration of millions of citizens who rallied around the project of building the new Algeria, especially that the President of the Republic eliminated the bridges between him and his people, depending on his personality, which combines integrity, simplicity, strictness, determination, and most importantly, proper management.
What he said himself in one of his speeches, where he held the paper and said, "There was a speech for me, but I will talk from the heart to heart," is the proper example to take into consideration if we want an opinion about the speeches of the presidents of the Republic. It shows that these addresses come from the heart and that are appreciated by all the social segments. His speeches are popular, not populist. He is close to the citizen with his personality. Wherever he is, he speaks a language that everyone understands. People are happy with him. He raised wages. We see his charisma and loyalty to the citizen, who now receives the real information. There are changes from the previous practices felt by the simple citizen foremost.
President Tebboune, successful so far in managing the country, decided to establish an annual address to the nation before the two chambers combined starting the end of the current year, and will constitute an opportunity for the president to assess the achievements during the current year and to review the political, economic and social situation as well as the external policy of the country while determining the prospects for the upcoming year. Exceptionally, the speech addressed to the nation by President Tebboune will be of special nature as it will be comprehensive for the past 4 years and is a first in the history of Algeria.
Since his election, the head of state Abdelmajid Tebboune honored his commitments, starting from the consolidation of a rule of law through the edification of the state's institutions. More details with Melissa Kubash.
الجزائريين ولدوا أحرار وسيبقوا أحرار.
Algeria has witnessed over the past 4 years an impressive progress at the international and continental levels, all recorded under the aegis of the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune. Since his coming to power, the President of the Republic showcased his determination in guiding our country towards the path of development and prosperity with his 54 commitments, all dedicated to achieve what the people aspire. Despite the critical sanitary situation marked by the COVID pandemic, Algeria succeeded during those dire times to survive the crisis and face the imposed challenges. Indeed, Algeria witnessed a remarkable economic development as its performances were hailed by international financial institutions.
نهاية 2019 في ديسمبر كنا على شفا حفرة بكل الميادين. احتياط الصرف كان يوصل بصعوبة إلى 40 مليار دولار مقابل استيراد كان وصل إلى أكثر من 60 مليار دولار. يعني كان من المفروض مثل ما كانوا يتكهنوا به كثير من الناس أننا نمر مباشرة المديونية.
No more external debts is among President Tebboun's decisions, a measure that aims at preserving the sovereignty of the country, the promotion of national production, and the maximization of Algerian competences.
إنتاج 100% محليا في خجلة.
نعم جربنا عندنا الفيديو جربنا ثاني على الحماية المدنية ونقدروا نبعثوه إلى مناطق كما اللي تونال ولا باش من
The efforts deployed surely improved the national production as Algeria managed to gradually get rid of hydrocarbons dependency and even moved towards export.
من 160 مليار دولار في سنة 2000.
The GDP, or the gross domestic product, was around $160 billion in 2019 and reached $250 billion in 2023. This is the first ever since independence. Algeria achieved important figures in terms of export outside hydrocarbons, reaching $5 billion in 2021, $7 billion in 2022, and now hoping to reaching $13 billion by the end of 2023.
A particular interest was also granted to the Algerian youth.
Several measures were taken and implemented in our favor, notably the unemployment allowance.
The head of state also fought against corruption while providing facilitations to investors, project holders, and wealth creators, by this ensuring them his full support.
كان واحد غير يجي يشوش عليك خبرنا
ان شاء الله
هذا
طلبوا بالدعم من عندكم ان شاء الله كما لكم تدعموا فينا
وزاد سو لا بروتيكسيون دو ليتا يا كان بروبليم مشاكلكم هي مشاكلنا ان شاء الله.
A telling evidence of Algeria's pivotal role on the international scene was the visits carried out by several heads of state, fruitful visits during which the president called for the creation of win-win partnerships while establishing relations based on mutual respect, far from any foreign interference.
وما هيش خسارة في المواطن، ما هيش خسارة، نصرف على المواطن لأن مثل ما قلت هو الأساس نتاع هذه الجمهورية هذه.
The president is a leader and sticks to the interests of his country.
Rejecting all forms of normalization, President Tebboune held his position as a defender of the Palestinian cause and the legitimate rights of Palestinians as he worked for the unification of the Palestinian factions and filed a complaint to the ICC, or International Court of Justice, against the Zionist occupier.
نزرع شجرة الزيتون باسم الرئيس الجزائري عبد المجيد تبون الداعم للقضية الفلسطينية، الموقف الحر، الموقف الشجاع، الموقف الذي يملك فيه الثبات ويملك فيه الرؤية ويدرك قيمة فلسطين ويدرك قيمة أولى القبلتين.
Under the aegis of the President of the Republic, Algeria is fully committed to move forward on the path of development, stability and prosperity.
تحيا الجزائر.
Always ready to protect the country, the People's National Army achieved important steps within the framework of modernization with one goal in mind, which is to guarantee the stability and security of our beloved country. More insights with Melissa Kobash.
The People's National Army, a worthy institution faithful to its commitments and able to face all forms of security unrest attempts, with one goal in mind: preserve and guarantee the stability and security of our country in a world full of tensions.
لم يسبق لبلادنا منذ استقلالنا أن كانت مصدر تهديد أو اعتداء على أحد. منطلقها في ذلك مبادئ حسن الجوار والسعي إلى الأمن المشترك الذي ينبع من صميم تاريخنا السياسي والعسكري.
President of the Republic, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense, follows constantly the security situation prevailing across the national territory while giving guidelines to maintain a stable situation and a high combat readiness in face of the constant changes and threats, notably cyber attacks that target sensitive vital systems of the state that requires a strategic monitoring.
بأن الجزائر بجيشها الباسل وشعبها الأبي لقادرة في الظروف الراهنة على إفشال المخططات والدسائس والمناورات.
As a token of gratitude to the immense sacrifices made by this institution, a revision and a hike of military pensions was decided so as to consolidate the legislative system and the laws destined to take in charge the concerns of the military personnel. As the combat preparations requires a developed military industry, the country's high authorities grant a great importance to this field. Within a couple of years, the Algerian military industry succeeded in positioning itself as a leader in the mechanical construction field.
The past couple of years, under the high command of the President of the Republic, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense Abdelmajid Tebboune, the PNA reached a high level of professionalism and both operational and combat readiness.
The security unrest at the regional and international levels requires a consolidation of the security of land, maritime and air borders of the country. The PNA adopted in its action plan the nature of danger in the fight against the residue of terrorism, border crimes, drug trafficking, smuggling, and illegal immigration.
Thank God we can be proud of our army that ensures stability in the country and protects our borders.
The People's National Army drew its force from its strong ties with the Algerian people, always siding with them. Consolidating the health sector in all military regions is an absolute priority, as it was the case of the military hospital Mother and Child inaugurated by the President. Enormous efforts were made in all fields, especially the human aspect, as the PNA trains elite generations that encounters the imposed challenges.
يتعلم الأبطال كيف تصان الأوطان. أعلن سيدي الرئيس وأن جميع الجيوش لديهم أوطان يعيشون فيها، أما نحن فلدينا الجزائر تعيش فينا.
Algeria is a reference for peace.
At the newly established Algeria, you have let down pillagers and heightened huts and spread out peace and safety. You honorably vowed yourself to serve man and the welfare of the country.
The People's National Army also works to keep up with the latest security and military developments. It also uses the necessary human and material potentials to protect our country. In addition to all this, efforts are also implemented to beef up military cooperation with brotherly countries. The strategic partnership with both China and Russia reflects the importance of Algeria, considered as the biggest guarantor of stability in the region. Algeria is always ready to assist its partners, and it is thanks to the Algerian Air Forces that tons of humanitarian aid were dispatched to Turkey, Syria, and Gaza. Where the air of the National Liberation Army, the PNA is exceptionally renowned of staving off all threats jeopardizing our country.
In a new development, and as tasked by the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, the President of the Council of the Nations, Salah Boujil, signed the condolences register at the Embassy of Kuwait here in Algiers following the death of the Emir of Brotherly Kuwait, Sheikh Nawaf Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Subah, presenting on behalf of the President of the Republic to the late's family and to the Kuwaiti people his most sincere condolences. In other news, the Army General Said Shingreha, Chief of Staff of the People's National Army, received on Tuesday at the headquarters of the General Staff of the People's National Army the Major General Fan Jianjun, Director of the Technical Cooperation and Equipment Development Department and the Central Military Commission of the People's Republic of China. The meeting was attended by Major General and generals from the NPA, General Staff, and the Ministry of National Defense, as well as members of the Chinese delegation. The two parties discussed the status of military cooperation between the two countries and ways to further strengthen them, notably in the field of defense industry. This Tuesday, around 40 young Algerians established abroad headed for Algeria, where they will visit many provinces of the country as part of the initiative of the Grand Mosque of Paris in collaboration with Algerian authorities. عفاف بالهوشات لتيسيس القوي.
It is a new, exciting adventure for around 40 young people from Algerian origins, aged between 20 and 30 years, preparing to embark on a journey of discovery of our rich revolutionary history.
Algerians born in Algeria are taught the national history in schools. However, the generations of Algerians abroad did not have this chance. With this initiative by the Grand Mosque of Paris, in collaboration with the local authorities in Algeria, this will change and they will have the chance to learn their history on the spot and instantly.
An initiative that is not new for the Grand Mosque of Paris, which organized similar trips to children and entrepreneurs before, all with the intention of bringing our nationals abroad closer to their origins, in line with the instructions of the President of the Republic.
We extend gratitude to President Tebboune for this program, with the collaboration of the Grand Mosque of Paris, headed by our rector, Shamsuddin Hafiz, and of course with the participation of 3 ministries, namely those of Youth and Sports, War Veterans, and of Culture, in addition to the Higher Council of Youth. This is a chance for them to discover the country, to visit few historical provinces, even though all of our provinces are rich in history.
The first 40 subscribers on the site devoted for this initiative were selected. This group of young people are eager to embark on this experience to unfold the rich history of their country. I thank the President, the organizers, and the Grand Mosque of Paris for this trip. I look forward to discovering this side of the Algerian history. I come every summer, but this is the first time that I will visit the south. I am really happy that we will browse the museums thoroughly. Initiatives of this kind aim to consolidate national memory in the minds of our nationals abroad, to bring them even closer to their homeland.
Gaza always counting its martyrs and healing its wounds caused by a Zionist savagery that spares nobody, including women, children, and infrastructures, despite the different calls launched here and there to end this heinous genocide. Ines Kilu tells us more.
The death toll of all the aggression launched 74 days ago by the occupying forces against the Gaza Strip continues to rise, reaching almost 20,000 Palestinian martyrs and 54,000 wounded. 70% of them are women and children. Since the beginning of the Zionist atrocities, the occupation army has deliberately targeted journalists in order to prevent them from reporting on the horrors of the Zionist massacres in Gaza. The number of Palestinian journalists has risen to 97 following the assassination of Adel Zarroub in a bombardment targeting his home in Rafah, and the other reporter, Hanin Ali al-Qadshani, killed with members of his family in a shelling against a Nusayrat refugee camp at the heart of Gaza. Yesterday and this morning, the occupying army continued its raids on several areas of Gaza, including Khan Yunis and Jabalia, killing dozens of people, most of them children and women, and wounding many others, while several hospitals in the enclave were destroyed or reduced to ashes by Zionist artillery. In this context, the Euro-Mediterranean Observatory for Human Rights stated that it had collected testimonies confirming that Zionist bulldozers burying Palestinians alive in the courtyard of Kamal Adwan Hospital, calling for an independent international investigation into these atrocities. After several failed attempts by the UN Security Council to adopt a resolution calling for a ceasefire in Gaza, the UN is expected to vote on a new text calling for an urgent and lasting cessation of the Zionist aggression to allow access for humanitarian aid. And at a time when crimes against humanity are being perpetrated with total impunity, the United States indicated it is still ready to continue supplying arms to that ally.
To Morocco now, where the people are getting ready to take to the streets on December the 22nd in several cities to reaffirm the rejection of the normalization of relations between the Makhzen and the Zionist entity, an agreement that was signed 3 years ago without taking into consideration the Moroccan people's willingness. The Moroccan Front for the Support of Palestine and Against Normalization called on for these demonstrations to be marked as the National Day Against Normalization. They also insisted on the continuation of the struggle until the complete cancellation of this normalization with the criminal Zionist entity. The Moroccan Authority for the Support of the Causes of the Ummah or Nation condemned the Makhzen's repression of rallies of solidarity with Palestine. It also denounced the Zionist genocidal aggression against the Gaza Strip and called for ending normalization with the occupying entity. Sports now, the under-23 national football team drew with the Palestinian national squad with 1 goal, and as part of a friendly game held today in Ahmada Stadium. The game is part of the preparations being held by the Palestinian national team ahead of the Asian Cup of Nations tournament to be hosted by Qatar next month.
ويدرك التعادل عند الدقيقة 47 فلسطين والجزائر مع حلول الدقيقة 48 من زمن المباراة في شوطها الثاني.
And we wrap up our bulletin with this beautiful blanket in several provinces following the important snowfall to the great joy of families, particularly children and above all the farmers who expect a bountiful season. Enjoy this all-white scenery and bye-bye for now.